Welcome to the Startup Grind.
Let's fast forward a bit. You sold Names database to classmates.com for $10 million. What'd you learn from that experience?
So similar, a lot of luck involved in all that, but I additionally was not drawing on mentors there, so I didn't learn from the first experience. Took it to the second experience. I've since learned this now, after 10 years, you know, or 15 years, however long I've been doing this. But that was a very weird company, or maybe it's not that weird, because you don't hear a lot about bootstrap companies, but there are a lot in Philadelphia. But so
right.
We had no investors.
Talk about Names that. What was Names database?
So it was at its core, at its beginning, it was not a product. I was messing around with lots of things I was interested in. I had randomly put up names on the internet, pages of names that were linked nowhere that meant nothing. They were from the census files. I was just messing around on a hunch that Google was kind of taking off. This was 2003. That people were searching names a lot, but there were no results for them. So I figured if you had a bunch of names pages, you get a ton of traffic.
Smart.
So I put these up one day. Back then, it took 6 to 9 months for Google to index pages. So I literally forgot about it. Then one day, my server started getting all this traffic. It was getting 10 to 20,000 unique visitors a day on these names pages. Wow. And you know, there was nothing on them. So at that point, I had a business partner. We were kind of doing some other ideas, and we said, what if we just put a sign-up form on this thing and see what happens? So I did that, and there was nothing after the sign-up form, but people were signing up. And we're like, okay, let's people sign up for this, you know? And came up with a name. At that point, it wasn't even Names, it was just on my personal domain, which I don't have anymore. It was names.mal. It was on subdomain of my domain or whatever. And then I got attracted to a very hard problem that also wasn't a product, which was, can you engineer a viral loop? Can you turn these people signing up into a truly exponential growth curve? And I'm not exactly sure why I got hooked on that, but I spent the next 9 months on that problem and eventually got it to work. But at the end of that, there was still no product really. People were signing up and coming through and registering, and so the easiest thing to tack onto that, which we eventually did, was something like classmates.com, find your old friends and classmates. You registered on the site. The basic information we had was your name. We could hook you up with old friends and classmates. We started collecting high school information when you signed up. And we sold that as a subscription, basically copied Classmates' business model, and it immediately started throwing off cash. I focused on that viral loop worked, but it didn't work well for very long because it relied on email, and email deliverability rates from 2003 every year kept going down as spam went up and just more people came onto email marketing. So it was a constant battle of keeping it on the cusp of exponential, and we get blacklisted by email. You know, I have to contact them and run through all these filters. And so in retrospect, I spent all my time on that problem, not a lot of time on product. We never hired anyone from beginning to end. I wrote all the code.
You and a co-founder.
Yeah, and he was working on something else pretty much 100% of the time. So
and bootstrapped?
Completely bootstrapped. I wrote all the code. I did all the server stuff. So we were possibly sitting on something a lot bigger than what it was if I had listened or took on any mentorship and tried to think about market opportunities or all these things that you should be thinking about. But I was real excited about what it was, and I have no regrets for it. But
right.
in retrospect, that was the major lesson learned: is I was so heads down. Didn't take one moment to step back in 3 years. That was from like beginning to end, to even consider what we were really doing.
Wow.